let's get into this next topic because Don Lemon out here talking about how he was at CNN. He was sexually harassed by men and women throughout his career. And he said damn near through his 10-year career at CNN. I almost said MSNBC, but they same shit, different toilet. Now, I was here for the tea. The only problem was I did not like where he went to spill the tea. He went on Bill Maher's podcast, and y'all already know how I feel about Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher is a radicalized Zionistic idiot. I was going to say, well, I think he is xenophobic, but he's a Zionist. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I just feel like because nobody's really checking for that show Real Time with Bill Maher over there on HBO anymore, he just goes where the wind blows. Like you out here licking Trump's balls and all other stuff. So, but at least in this conversation, I will say it was a good one. So Lemon was a guest on Club Random, Bill Maher's podcast, featuring lengthy and loose interviews with notable cultural figures and newsmakers. Now, nearly over 2-hour episode, the two discussed the shifting landscape of media bias, the existence of rational MAGA Republicans, and Lemon's experiences as a Black homosexual man. Now, early in the episode, the two TV hosts touch on the topic of harassment, and Lemon gives into his brushes with uncomfortable moments and colleagues, which include being touched inappropriately by a woman in a CNN cafeteria and being sexually harassed by a superior in the cable news channel. Now, I do have the clip. Hopefully, we don't get flagged by it after I just cussed out Bill Maher. Said I don't like his ass. But I do have a clip, courtesy of the Twitter. We're going to play that, and then we're going to come back and talk. Please hold.
I'm very interested.
There are some things that
No, I'm interested in this.
There are some things that are really egregious, right? And
Like?
not everything is Harvey Weinstein level. And
that's rape.
And then some of that's a whole different story. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not saying it makes it right, but I remember when I was in Atlanta and was in the cafeteria, commissary, whatever.
At CNN?
At CNN. And this young lady tweaked my nipples and said, "Oh, it's cold in here." And I said, "Okay, you realize if I did that, they'd be walking me out the door right now." But I didn't care. I didn't go to HR. I didn't say anything because I was just like, it's a double standard.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's a bit. And also, but I've never told this story as well. Someone who I worked with also harassed me at CNN, and I never went to management. First of all, I was so
a man
new
or
there.
a woman?
A woman. And she knew I was gay. And it was just bizarre. She was going through a divorce. It was just weird. And I never went to management. First of all, I thought like, okay, they may find a way to get rid of me because if I tell this story, I don't know if they're going to believe me or not. But then she was so mean to me after that. I was like, I should have told the story. But yeah, I've been harassed by men and women.
But what constituted this harassment? Like what did physically, like in the office, like come in and twirl for me, Don?
It wasn't a twirl for me, but it was not. It was not in the office. But yeah, it's all. I won't go that far.
So
so it pretty much cuts off there. I wish I would have there would have been more to elaborate on, but you know how YouTube is. I mean, not YouTube, the Twitter, where they only want to go in and just have like a couple of clips and stuff. But he even went on to say that here's the thing. Now, he's absolutely right about that, because if it did come down to a situation where, if you as a man go up to someone, and I saw some big-breasted chick and her nipples was just like percolating through her top. If I went over there and like I did a whole tweet or twist, whatever, my ass would have been fired within seconds of me doing that. But I feel like the way that people look at it is like men are supposed to just take any kind of abuse. If we call it out that we're being talked to inappropriately, if we're grabbed or groped, you're called all kinds of names. Or maybe what she was looking at it was, oh, he's a homosexual, so he's not attracted to me sexually, but still, you don't have a right to put your hands on any parts of my body. You don't touch my chest, you don't touch my crotch, you don't grab my ass. I remember, and look, I've been through these situations where I've worked at jobs, and I've had women make sexually charged comments towards me about my ass and all this other stuff, because, when I would work in certain establishments, the type of clothes that I would wear, which would be if I work out and I go to the gym and I have like big arms and I have, I work hard on my behind and my legs and those other stuff and I'm wearing tight jeans or whatever the case is. Yeah, I want to show off my figure. I want to show off what I've been working out in the gym, but that doesn't give you the right to go and make inappropriate comments or touch me inappropriately, because that's, you need to ask people for consent, and people need to understand that. I don't know if you're thinking that's being complimentary. We've heard many stories about men who come out and said that women are inappropriate to them in that way. This is not, Don won't be the first nor the last to come out and say this. And I'm glad that, when he's in a space where he feels free enough to do that, because, he does work in the independent media space. And you know what I've been saying many times before is that I don't mind y'all coming into in the independent media space like YouTube and things, if y'all want to come over here and work on this side of the pond with us. But if y'all gonna come over here, y'all need to leave that corporate media propaganda over there at Corporate Legacy Media. Don't bring that shit over here on YouTube. Don't bring that stuff over here on Twitch. Don't bring that stuff over here on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you like to stream live. Leave that stuff over there for the corporate oligarchs to continue to feed and brainwash they people. Come over here and bring the real stuff. You are not beholden to those corporate people anymore. And I hope that Don is not at a place where he's trying to get back in the good graces of those people, because I feel like your days is over there. And Legacy Media is dying anyway. But I have noticed that a lot of these corporate media types are jumping over into the YouTube space and still spewing corporate media propaganda. So that's why y'all got to be real careful when it comes down to looking at people who jump in independent media spaces and thinking that they're actually independent media, because they're not. So he also went and decided to elaborate much more on the story, and in the interview talked about how he was sexually abused as a child. I just gotta find out where that is. Oh, I don't know I don't think he mentioned that, this other part, because I want to finish reading the rest of it. So they said, well, we read about the part with the nipples. So then they also said that, he launched into a recollection of a unreported incident with a female colleague he says also harassed him, but this time he explains it did not occur on company property. He said, I've never told this story as well. Someone who I worked with also harassed me at CNN, and then I never went to management. Since she knew that I was gay, and it was just bizarre. She was going through a divorce. It was just weird. Now, Lemon said that at the time he rationalized not reporting the incident because he figured, given the alleged harasser's stature, the company might have found a way to get rid of him. He says that he thought that if he told the story of what happened, he wasn't sure if he'd be believed. Now, after pressure from Mar for some details, Lemon explained that the incident also occurred in Atlanta with a woman whom he had spent time with at business events, which included occasional cocktail parties. Say, remember, this was a while ago, and there was no Uber or anything like that. If you're in Atlanta, the taxis aren't available, he said, telling Mar that he tried to make when he tried to make his exit, he was told to come home with the woman. No, don't go home. No, don't go home. Stay in the guest room, that sort of thing. Lemon did not elaborate further on the incident from there, but told Mar that the CNN employee in question was so mean to me afterward. Ultimately, Lemon concludes, as a man, he is in position to say no, which he believes may not always be the case when the roles are reversed. He says, I'm an adult. Maybe I think it's different for men and women, depending on the power structure. I think it's flattering as long as you can send them off easily. As a man, I could say, no, I'm not interested. Lemon then made a surprising revelation to Mar that he was also abused as a child, the M word. He says, but also someone who was molested as a child is a different thing. He said, causing Mar to interject and confirm that he just heard what he heard his guest reveal. Because you know how to deal with it, and you know what's really important or not, and you know, like, who has the power. I figure as a man, I have the power to say, I don't want to. I don't need to go to HR to ruin your career. I'll just tell you, I'm not interested in this. You were drunk. We had a couple of drinks or whatever. Let's let it go. The Hollow Reporter, they said, also reached out to CNN representative on Monday to comment. Well, first of all, how you going to reach out to a CNN rep to comment when you don't even know who the hell it is that he was talking about? But I guess because y'all need to vet and do your typical whatever, y'all got to check and make sure that stuff is accurate or whatever the case is. But if he ain't revealed to y'all who it was, and it might not even be documented, But how you gonna reach out to CNN and ask them what their opinion is? He don't work there no more. I don't think he cares. So shout out to Don Lemon. I'm glad that you was out here spilling your tea and living in your truth and all this other stuff. I just don't like where you actually went to spill your tea at. But it's better than going on Club Shay Shay because Miss Shannon, she out here giving some of the worst a damn platform and being dragged for it. I don't know what happened. I guess now that you done ran through and grifted with your own people, now you putting on some of the worst white folks, kind of like Gavin Newsom and all them radical Republicans that he's out here. There was Republican extremists, I should say, that he's out here interviewing, and basically because he wants to give hand jobs to them rather than asking real questions. So anyway, I say all this to say, about our country. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to what Don Lemon is saying about him being sexually harassed by women? I would have loved to have heard the stories about who was the men's that was out here trying to get all up in get them cookies. That's what I want to know. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.